Hello guys and welcome back to my YouTube channel FPL Tur. I hope all of you are doing well. So on to Game Week 30 transfer tips, and this video is for those of you who don't have any chips left but want to make the most out of your double game weeks coming up whilst avoiding the blank game week. And the four teams that don't blank but have double game weeks coming up include West Ham, Liverpool, Newcastle and Fulham. So first up we're going to be looking at West Ham. Now, the three pickouts for me is Ben Rama, Bowen and Danny Ings. Now, Ben Rama is having a decent season by his standards, 4 goals, 3 assists. The only thing that worries me about Ben Rama is his minutes, which brings me on to Danny Ings. He is also a bit of a minutes issue because he's obviously competing with Antonio and Scamacca when he's fit. But out of all the West Ham assets, them two for me are in the top 3, and joining them obviously is Jared Bowen, but he is having a poor season by his standards. He's not as threatening as he was last season, but when I've watched West Ham this year, he still looked good, and I feel like he's just been unlucky. Things that would have gone for him last season haven't this season, and it's just fine margins. I think he's still a very good option. The only thing with Bowen is his price. He's expensive at 8 million, whereas Ben Rama is 5.5 million. So it's team dependent, but you know, both are good options. I prefer Bowen obviously, but yeah, it's the price. Does he really warrant 8 million? As I said, it's down to your team and if you can get him in or not. But those are the 3 for West Ham that I would look to bring in this week. So next up we're going to be looking at Liverpool. So on to Liverpool, and the 3 that I've picked out are Trent Alexander-Arnold, Mohamed Salah and Darwin Núñez. Trent, look, he's been poor this year, but he can always give you something going forward. There's no one really competing for the right back spot. You could argue Joe Gomez, James Milner, but to be honest, I think Klopp's going to persist with Arnold. I just think he's too good going forward to leave out, really. Look, even going forward, he's not been as good as he previously was, but he's still always got that threat. And, you know, his assist per 90, 0.29, it really does prove that. Darwin, he is an XG monster. And one of these days, it's really going to pay off. That's why he's in the top 3. I do feel like although they've got a lot of competition up front, Liverpool, I think he's probably one of the main guys. He's definitely above Jota and he's definitely above Firmino. Arguably, he's above Gakpo and Luis Diaz, who's still not full fitness. So yeah, Darwin's in the top 3 there with Salah. Obviously, he has to be. He's the main guy. He's quietly having a good season. He just looks worse because Liverpool look a lot worse. He's actually not done that bad, and you know, he's been overshadowed by Haaland and Kane as well. So he is a little bit forgotten. His ownership's very low considering what it has been in the past. So Salah, a very, very good option. I think a lot of people have brought him in already, but he's definitely one to look at. So yeah, they're the 3 from Liverpool that I would bring in this game week. For me, I was looking at Salah, but I can't get him in. I've been looking at Trent, and also I can't get him in. Darwin's an easier one for me to get in, but yeah, I'm not too sure. It just means me losing sort of in the midfield, and I don't know if I can do it. But if I could, you know, I think Liverpool are good assets to have. Got some good fixtures coming up. So yeah, if I was to go for Liverpool assets, they would be the three main ones. So Newcastle assets of Isak, Botman, and Trippier. Trippier, let's just start with him. He's a bit of an obvious one to be in there. You know, he's been fantastic since coming in. He's on all the set pieces, so the opportunity for goals and assists going forward is high. And Newcastle defensively are very good, which is why Botman's also there with him. Now, I think Botman is currently at 4.5 mil. To be honest, you could pick between him and Dan Burn, you know, the same sort of price. Fabian Schär, he's a little bit more expensive, so it doesn't make that much sense going for him. And I do feel, I've got a very good feeling Botman's due a goal. So that's kind of why he's in there. You know, it's a bit of a silly reason, but I do feel like he's due a goal. When I've watched Newcastle play and the corners come in, he does look very threatening, and I just think it is going to pay off. So defensively, Newcastle are very good. Attacking wise, they're not the best, but I have put Isak in there. He's looked very good since coming in and coming back to full fitness. The only thing is it could be a little bit of a minutes issue with obviously Callum Wilson, but he always gets injured, doesn't he? And his fitness isn't the best, so it does always leave the door open for Isak, but they are going to be sharing a little bit up front, unless Howe can get them playing together. I just don't see it. I think it's one or the other with Almiron and Saint-Maximin and Willock sort of in and around number 9 spot. But they're the three that I would be picking. And in terms of fixtures, they've got some good ones in there. Villa, Everton and Southampton. Spurs at home is also a good fixture. And Brentford away, it feels mad to say that they're good fixtures for Newcastle. It just shows how far they've come. But in terms of Newcastle assets, they would be the three I would go for. So last up, we've got Fulham, and we've got Willian, Andreas, and Mitrovic. Mitrovic and Andreas are probably the obvious ones to bring in for Fulham. Willian, he's surprised me at how good he's been. I think he's 34 now, but he doesn't look and he doesn't feel much older than he did when he left Chelsea. Now I'm a Chelsea fan, so I remember Willian very well, and I loved him at Chelsea. And he's still got that twist and turn about him, and that turn of pace. Yeah, he's done really well, and he's got 3 goals and 2 assists, which isn't bad for Willian. He could have easily had more. It's the same story with Bowen. I feel like he's been very unlucky not to get more. He's got a decent XG there for goals and assists. So I think Willian could be one to watch. But for me, the main two is Andreas and Mitrovic. Andreas surprised me as well. I think Fulham have just surprised me all in all. But he's dropped off of late. So is his price as well. I think he's 4.3 now, because everyone had him at one point and then everyone shipped him out. But I think maybe get him back in if you fancy a Fulham asset. As I said, they don't blank in the blank game week, and they have a double coming up. So Andreas could be a good one. Mitrovic, he's been amazing this season. He's never really done it in the Premier League before. The only thing is it's just his temperament. You know, he's so prone to getting a yellow and even a red, and a suspension. So if you fancy taking the risk, then go with it. He's obviously on penalties. He's very good at Good XG there per 90 for goals. I think he's into double figures. I think he's got 11 in the Premier League this year. So Mitrovic, it'd probably be the one, if you can get him in, it'd be the one to go for Fulham. So yeah, good fixtures as well. West Ham, Everton, Leeds and Villa are the next four. The double, it's not the kindest double, Man City and Liverpool, but you know, the Premier League these days, anything can happen. So although personally I wouldn't bring in Fulham assets, I've put them there because they are one of the teams that don't blank, and they would be the three that I go for. So guys, thank you all for watching. Please follow me on Instagram and Twitter at FPL and subscribe to the YouTube at FPL. Feel free to leave any feedback and comments in the comments section and give the video a like. I'll speak to you guys soon. See you next time.